I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, Andrew Thompson. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
I'm doing all right, thank you. How are you?
I am excellent. It's a beautiful Saturday morning at the time of this recording in Trinidad. What part of the world are you in right now?
I live in New York City. I was born and raised here.
Oh, sweet. And which of your talents do you believe is responsible for us connecting?
You reached out to me about you wanted to speak to podcasters, and that's what I'm here for. So I guess my talent would be my passion for the sport of soccer, and my ability to connect with people through that. So
Yeah. So tell me more. Tell me about the outside of the boot, if you would.
sure. About 4 years ago, I lived in Florida for a year. Work down there was tough to find, and then I was looking online. One of my friends down there, part-time as a side job, he was doing a lot of sports writing for a website for the New York Yankees. And he was saying, "Oh no, you should look into this. You know, they have like a whole soccer branch." So I looked into it, and then that's when I first started getting into freelance journalism. And for about 6 months, I was at one particular website, and then after that, I saw this website called Outside of the Boot, and it's a website that really focuses on writing about youth development around the world, and every country, you name it. And since I've been playing soccer since I was a little kid, I also coach as well here in New York City. So I applied, I was accepted, and this all just took from there. And now I write for two different websites. I'm an editor for one of them. I do. I also do some podcasting. I'm a co-host with one of my friends. We have our own show. So things just sort of took off from there, and it's for something that is such a huge passion of mine. It's really fun to be a part of a community that you can sit down and meet people from all walks of life, from all corners of the world, and you have this one thing that everyone is just so obsessed with, and you can just sit down and talk about anything for hours with people you don't even know.
Yeah.
And then you get to know them that way, and it's just a really cool way to really find common ground with people that you maybe wouldn't find that common ground with if you saw them walking down the street,
Yeah. I love before we got into this conversation, you said you were listening to Manu. You were watching, Manu, right?
Yeah, I'm not a Manu fan, but
of course,
I do
he's
watch.
putting it out there immediately.
Just throwing it out. So.
Yeah, I just love to connect dots, but it just speaks to what you were speaking about in terms of Man United, right? Man representing woman, both woman and man, right? And it's really amazing what the game of soccer, in the Caribbean we call it football, right? I think Americans call it, the only people that call it soccer, but definitely soccer, for this conversation, does unite in a pretty fascinating way. It does, doesn't it?
And I think that's one of the things I love about the game so much, is that you can look back at some of the stories that you see this past year. Syria nearly made the World Cup in Russia next summer, despite everything that's going on in that country for the last couple of years. And everyone got behind that team and supported them, despite maybe their political affiliations or what they feel about what's going on. It didn't really matter, And I think that's what I love it so much. And it's just a huge thing around the world, and it's every ex-professional that you can think of, from the likes of like Pele and everyone like that. They always talk about the power that the sport has to really bring people together, in any number of ways. And I think that's what makes the sport amazing, and it's one of the reasons why I do appreciate it as much as I do.
That's amazing. So who did you learn this skill from? The skill of editing, the skill of writing?
Well, I've always been the quiet type. I'm relatively introverted. I obviously have my group of friends, but I was never like the super, super outgoing kind of guy. And when I was in school, I studied history at university, and you have to do a lot of writing for that, a ton of papers, that sort of thing. And I just found a knack for expressing myself through the written word, I suppose. And And so I just had a lot of experience with colleges writing from there, and then it's not too dissimilar. When you write a sports article, you do have to sit down and do your research. You have to do fact finding, all this kind of stuff, and my grammar is pretty strong, so I eventually I sort of just fell into it. Um, but everything happens for a reason. I love to say that, about life. Just things just happen when and how they're meant to, and I think that was just one of those things. So
Yeah, it's amazing how your skill created a platform, if you would, that took you from that introverted way, if you would, to that
yes,
extroverted surroundings, right? So you said you're meeting people, you're having conversations in meetings, right? And
yes,
your voice is now confident because the thing you're expressing, you're definitely, if you would, you're an authority in that area, right? At that point in time. Why will you continue to repeat that skill? Nevertheless, in spite of the uncomfortable times that can occur.
I just it's just something I love to do. Again, that sort of became my avenue to reach out, and again, I don't do it to meet new people, but there's some incredible stories I could go through if I had more time,
Yeah.
just about things that I've experienced just because of writing, and I think that was my chance and moment in life to really sort of find a way to, again, maybe get out of that sort of introverted sort of way of thinking, and really broaden my own horizons. And I think that's something important for everyone that they need to be doing. Keeping an open mind about things, being sponges, I guess, if you will, really taking everything in that you possibly can from different people. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know the conversation you're going to have. We're having this conversation right now because of it. This is a prime example. And it's not very often that I speak to anybody who's from the Caribbean. I've never been there, but here we are. So I guess this is a good instance of what maybe that can do, and what it can continue to do as I keep moving forward. So.
Well, tell me one other thing that you've done, Andrew, consistently over the last 3 years.
Coaching. Like I said, I've been playing since I was about 6 or 7, and I'm 33, so I've been playing for about 26, 27 years.
Wow.
And I love working with kids. Again, and I love the power that the sport has. The school I work for, it's an international boarding school, so I have kids from all over the world in my program. We have 2 kids in the Netherlands. We have kids from Hong Kong, from China, from Vietnam, from Austria, from Mexico, from Colombia, Ecuador. Like, these are all, and they're all coming together despite their differences, and they all love the sport. And I think it's a great way to teach them life lessons. It's a great way to help them really push forward in something they're really passionate about. And I think that's something that kids of that age level really need to be understanding and having nurtured. If you love something, push and keep doing it. And I don't think that's taught enough to youth, especially in the United States. And here it's so much about, get good grades, get into a great college, get a great job, make as much money as you can. But people don't talk enough about doing things that you love. And I think if I can be a part of a program where I can teach kids about the sport, I can help them improve, I can help them reach their goals, I can sit down and be, a mentor or a role model in some capacity. And to me, I think it's just, the results you can see, I think, are incredible. I've only been there 2 years, although I've been coaching since I was about 19. And when I came in as coach, the team, I think, had 2 wins out of 12 matches the season before I got there. And then my first season, we missed making the playoffs by just 3 points. And then this past season that just ended, we ended up going to the semifinals. So just in 2 years, I've taken my passion and passed it on to my kids, and they've really blossomed, both on the training pitch, but also in the classroom. There's a lot of smart kids. A lot of them are full international baccalaureate students, where they're incredibly intelligent, and you just see how they progress as just teenagers going through life. And it's just one of the things I love to do.
I love it. Hey, you're doing an amazing job. Amazing audience. We are live with Andrew Thompson. Do check him out. Hey, he's a regular contributing writer. Most of all, he's the podcast host, right? Co-host of Football Pulse,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So do check that out. Andrew, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Andrew, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Ooh. I don't remember too much when I was a young kid, but there's just one memory. I'm pretty close with my family. We're a very small family. It's just my parents, my brother, and I. We don't really speak to our extended family much, but this is one memory. I remember I was very, very close with my dad, but I was also sort of secretly close with my mom, and I'm very, very close with her now. And there's this moment when I had to be 1 or 2 years old, and we were down in Virginia where her father and her mother lived in Virginia Beach. And there's this bridge over this river. It had this little mini waterfall on it. And I always just thought, like, I was always obsessed with, the way water looks and how it flows and the power of it. So I was standing on a little bridge and I was looking over it, and she picked me up and she stood my feet on the edge and she held me. She wrapped her arms around me and I was looking down and I was like in awe of how beautiful it was. And she was just sitting there smiling. I can remember that even when I was 2. And it's one of those things where, for me, it's my favorite moment because you just, in moments like that, you just realize the love that your family and your parents have and how important it is for yourself. I think that's one of the moments where they would really do it for me.
Wow. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure.
I love the idea that a mentor picks you up, puts you where he or she is, and gives you the view from the top. And to see your mother do that for you at that particular point in time, understanding the thing you love and then giving you another view from the top of that particular thing, and to see that you are doing that in the soccer world for those you are mentoring, those mentees, right?
Yes.
The people you're coaching, that is pretty fascinating to me.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Oh my God, when I was 12. I don't know if I had a favorite song, but I used to listen to a lot of Boyz II Men. if you can narrow it down. So
Yeah. You choose one Boyz II Men song that pops up.
Oh man. Let's see. I guess just a song for Mama, I guess would be.
Alright, cool. Well, it definitely connects, right? Like your mama did put you up there, right? Alright, my friend. We've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's going to be yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Andrew, are you ready?
Sure, let's go.
Have you chosen someone, Andrew, to pass on your skills to?
Yes, I have.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have children?
Nope.
Well, you do have some children in the field, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Unfortunately, it's way more than 8, given the writing.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, after 1,001 conversations in 3 months in 2016, I came up with a workbook. The name of it is yours. It stands for your own unique real self. My idea is as you answer questions, you get to uncover your mission, your own unique real statement. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Andrew Thompson, what would you say that is?
I guess never shackle your passions. Yeah. Always let them branch out and blossom. Whatever you do in life, always be passionate about something.
Yeah, love it. Andrew, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I guess, if you do have a chance to come on the show, I think you can because, I think you should. Just, I've only known you for a couple minutes now, but again, this is one of those instances where it's great to sit down with someone and just have a conversation about something you love doing, sharing your experiences. I think that's really important. And now that you're sharing it with the whole community, through the project, I think you never know, who you're going to meet. So I think for any of the listeners, if you have a chance to do this ever, I think you should. So.
Yeah, love it. Hey, love it. Andrew Thompson, again, great pleasure. Thank you, my friend, for being on what is inspired by 12-minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.